Hello everyone, I hope you are all having a wonderful weekend. Today we have a special guest, Telltale. He's going to be the one enlightening us today. Now before I let him take over, he and I are collaborating right now, so I have a cool video about Komodo dragons over at his channel. So be sure to check that out once you have the time. Link is in the description below. And while you're there, he also has some other awesome videos about cults. Check out those too if you have the time. Anyway, this intro is way too long, so please take the spotlight, Telltale.
I know you guys expected Professor Stick today, but you're getting me instead this time. If you're looking for the latest Professor Stick video, you can check my channel. He released today's video over there. But since I'm here, let's debunk a Jehovah's Witness video. It's called, Why Did God Create the Earth? Let's get into it.
Our world is filled with breathtaking beauty. Why did God create the earth in such a special way? Even from space, it stands alone as wonderfully unique. God created the earth with an abundance of water. He placed it at just the right distance from the sun and set its rotation at just the right speed. He gave it a moon to stabilize the Earth's tilt, contributing to consistent seasons.
Okay, I see what's happening here. It's the old fine-tuning argument. See, the problem with Jehovah's Witnesses is that they don't take part in or watch any debates of any kind. It's forbidden to hear critical information. They aren't even allowed to question anything. A while back, a Mormon speaker gave a talk called Doubt Your Doubts. Of course, we're talking about Jehovah's Witnesses here, but they kind of share that philosophy. You shouldn't doubt your beliefs, you should doubt your doubts about your beliefs. So about the fine-tuning argument. It's been debunked like 16 billion times, but here they are bringing it up again, because they live in a vacuum, so let's address it. Douglas Adams, the guy who wrote Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, addressed the fine-tuning argument pretty well with his puddle analogy. Here's what he said. Imagine a puddle waking up one morning and thinking, this is an interesting world I find myself in. An interesting hole I find myself in. Fits me rather neatly, doesn't it? In fact, it fits me staggeringly well. Must have been made to have me in it. This is such a powerful idea that as the sun rises in the sky and the air heats up, and as gradually the puddle gets smaller and smaller, it's still frantically hanging on to the notion that everything's going to be alright, because the world was meant to have him in it, was built to have him in it, so the moment he disappears catches him rather by surprise. The bottom line? Obviously things look fine-tuned to you, because you're here to observe it. If you were incapable of living in this environment, then you wouldn't be here to observe it and talk about how amazing it is. You have no idea if something made this place to exact specifications to fit your needs, or if life naturally springs up in this type of environment, or if life could exist in other environments too. It's just that we evolved for this very specific environment. Who knows? Maybe something could evolve to survive in open space, or in methane clouds. Maybe our form of life isn't the only possible type. Not only is it ridiculous to claim that things were fine-tuned for us to exist, it's also a very self-centered view of the universe. But that's human nature, isn't it? The belief that there's an all-powerful being out there that controls everything, knows everything, and can do absolutely anything, and he's got you on his mind. That's not egotistical at all. Let's continue.
He gave it a moon to stabilize the Earth's tilt, contributing to consistent seasons. And he created an amazing variety of living creatures to share the Earth with.
Or, you know, maybe those animals all came from a common ancestor. Actually, that's not a maybe thing. That's a factual thing. They did. What do you think the mammalian classification is? What do you think the fungi classification is? How do you think we know the difference between amphibians and reptiles? We have a classification tree that lets us draw connections between different types of animals. And that's been confirmed with DNA testing and comparison. Sorry, Jehovah's Witnesses. We figured this out decades ago. I guess you guys were just the last ones to hear about it.
And he created an amazing variety of living creatures to share the earth with. Why did God put forth so much effort to create this beautiful earth?
He didn't. There is no God.
Because he wanted to give the first human couple, Adam and Eve, a wonderful home. As long as they obeyed God, they and their children would live forever and expand the paradise garden to cover the entire globe. This was God's purpose for the earth. So what happened? Why isn't the earth a paradise? Sadly, Adam and Eve chose to disobey God.
They disobeyed God. I thought he gave them free will. Why did he give them free will if they weren't supposed to use it? Isn't that kind of like putting a child in a room with rat poison and telling them not to eat it? Why put it there in the first place? That kind of feels like you're bad, bro. And on that note, if we're gonna be perfect beings after Armageddon, won't that take away our free will anyways? Doesn't that defeat the whole purpose of the plan? Why didn't God do that in the first place? And when they finally did eat the fruit, why didn't he quarantine them and give Adam a vasectomy so he couldn't reproduce and then just create a new breeding pair? Why'd he let billions of people throughout history just continue to reproduce? That seems like you're bad too, bro. I'm ticking those deaths off on your scorecard, not ours.
They eventually grew old and died. Paradise was lost. But did this mean that God's original purpose for the earth had changed? Imagine that a father decides to build a beautiful home for his son. He gives it to him as a gift, but instead of being thankful, the son neglects his father's gift and the house falls into disrepair. What would a loving father do? Would he destroy the house and all his hard work? No, he would patiently save it for a family member who would appreciate it.
What? He gave it to them and now he's just taking it back? That's messed up. If you give something to somebody, then it's not yours anymore. That's how it works. You don't get to take it back and give it to somebody else. Besides, God created Adam and Eve in the first place. He de facto raised them. As far as I'm concerned, any mistakes they made in their first 30 days are God's fault. So stop trying to push the blame onto us. Talk about victim blaming.
In a similar way, although Adam rejected the gift, the Bible tells us that God didn't change his purpose for the earth. His purpose still stands. He wants to give this gift, an earthwide paradise, to you, to enjoy in happiness and health forever.
Jehovah's Witnesses have slightly different beliefs than most other standard Christians. Most Christians believe they'll go to heaven when they die, and then they'll be with God forever. Jehovah's Witnesses think that some people will go to heaven to be kings and priests and rule over the earth as equals with Jesus. 144,000 people specifically. Everybody else will live on a paradise earth, basically Garden of Eden 2.0. I'm not here to argue one way or another. I think both claims are ridiculous, but honestly, they're so insulated in their bubble, tucked safely away from the rest of society, and from disagreements that they have no idea that their claims have been debunked 1,000 times over. It's honestly sad. I mean, they aren't just insulating themselves from arguments. They're insulating themselves from culture. Just look at how they act.
Where would I be if I did not have faith? That I would see Jehovah's goodness in the land of the living. Hope in Jehovah. Be courageous and strong of heart. Yes, hope in Jehovah.
Thank you, Brother Brown. That psalm is very faith-strengthening.
It is, Chris. Especially the question at verse 13. Where would I be if I did not have faith?
If it was one instance, you might be able to chalk it up to bad acting, but it's not. It's all over the place. Take a look at this one.
Young ones, build your future with Jehovah. If you do, 1 Timothy 6:19 assures that you will safely treasure up for yourself a fine foundation for the future, and you will get a firm hold on the real life.
And I'm in the middle of a debunk series right now where I'm talking about this video series they're doing called JW Broadcasting.
Imagine that you're the prophet Isaiah who received a divine vision. What would you have seen?
Why do they talk like that? I don't understand. Is it to scare off non-Jehovah's Witnesses? Because it's working. I honestly couldn't even guess how they're continuing to bring in new members. Normal people don't talk like that. There absolutely must be something broken in these dudes.
Anyways, that's all I've got for you. If you like what I do and you want to see more of it, you can check out my YouTube channel. There's a link in the description to Professor Stick's video from today, so give it a look. It's another creationist debunk about the Komodo dragon. And as per Professor Stick's style, it's funny as hell, and full of science. It's definitely worth a watch, so check it out. Thanks again to Professor Stick for having me on his channel. Okay, thanks for watching, guys.
Ah yes, thank you to Telltale for that quality piece of entertainment. If you guys liked what you saw, be sure to check him out. As a reminder, I did a video on Komodo dragons over at his channel, and I think you'll enjoy it. And while you're there, you'll sure to be entertained by all of Telltale's other videos. Excellent content creator. He's an expert on cults and does very in-depth analyses on their activities and behaviors. I've definitely learned so many things watching his videos, and I think you will too. Anyway, thanks to everyone for watching, and I'll see you next week.